Years ago today, one of the worst chemical attacks in modern history was carried out in Syria. Hundreds of people were killed in a sarin gas attack. The world was outraged, but the war rages on. Let's cross live to our regional correspondent, Leila Mullan Allen, to get the latest. Firstly, we're speaking on the anniversary of that horrific attack. What has changed when it comes to the chemical warfare since then in Syria?
Very little has changed, sadly. So in this attack, we still don't know how many people died in that attack 5 years ago. Estimates go up to 1,700 people. And it was a deadly sarin gas attack, which has horrific impact on the central nervous system of a human being, collapse, vomiting at the mouth, foaming, and all the internal organs effectively give up and are overstimulated. So really horrific pictures we saw coming out there 5 years ago. And there was a huge international reaction. This was one of the worst chemical weapons attacks in the history of modern warfare. And at the time, various Western leaders said, this is the end. President Obama at the time said they'd crossed a red line now and we will step in. But in the end, nothing happened. There was no organized strike. And the only thing that came out of this was that the United Nations said that Syria must give up its chemical weapons, and President Bashar al-Assad agreed that he would. However, that actually never came to pass. The UN chemical weapons inspectors went in and they said over the next few years that they had been cleared out. But at the same time, we saw several different attacks. At the beginning of 2016, that organization, the OPCW, said finally all the chemical weapons in Syria's stock, the Syrian government's stock, had been cleared. And then in late 2016, we saw 4 separate attacks. So in the last 5 years, since that deadly attack that you were just speaking about, we've seen up to 20 different attacks using chlorine gas and sarin gas, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which is an independent organization. So really, it's been seen that the Western leaders are not willing to step forward and say, we're going to do something about this. Last year, there was an attack in Khan Sheikhoun, which killed dozens of people. And President Trump at the time said, this is a game changer for me. There was a small strike then. And then this year, of course, we saw in April in Douma, that attack that was certainly a chlorine gas attack, perhaps sarin used as well, up to 70 people killed there. That was on the 7th of April. And again, a small strike in reaction from Western leaders, but nothing else. So essentially, the Syrian government have realized they do have impunity to use these weapons because those red lines that Western leaders said they were crossing, there's been very little reaction in the end.
An awful laundry list of those chemical attacks then in Syria. And there's a similar situation when it comes to that broader war in the country. Lots of talk about action needing to be taken, but the war continues unabated.
Well, exactly. Now, I mean, we've entered the 8th year of the war now, and really this year has been a game changer for this war. Early on in the Syrian civil war, 70% of the country was out of President Bashar al-Assad's hands, but slowly he has been regaining that territory. And this year, with the help of his allies, Russia, which provides a lot of air power, and Iran, which provides a lot of ground troops, including Hezbollah troops from Lebanon, they've managed to take back huge swathes of the country. They, particularly after that chemical attack, that suspected chemical attack in Douma in April, they've managed to take that whole area. All the Damascus suburbs are now back under the control of the government. They've also managed to take back areas in Daraa in the south, where the Syrian civil war originally started, and Quneitra nearby. Those are the areas that border Jordan and Israel. So with that whole part of the country cleared, really there are only a few areas left for the government to take back. They've already started talks with the Kurdish-US alliance, which is up in the east, and they have small pockets also which still are under the control of Islamic State in the eastern Syrian desert, but those are quite small. And the reason that they're not attacking those yet is they're quite far away from civilian areas. The last real area after that that's still under rebel control is Idlib province in the north. And there are great concerns here because lots and lots of the unwanted for the Syrian regime who've been cleared through peace deals from other areas have been sent up north to Idlib. There are now over 2 million people there who are linked, rebels and their families, so linked to the rebel movements living up there. And they're trapped because the Turkish border there is closed. So great concerns that once the government does decide that that's the next big assault, those people trapped inside nowhere to go. And of course, even once this war, which does look to be over fairly soon in favour of the Syrian government, still all those refugees displaced both inside the country, we've got about 12 million people displaced inside Syria, and up to 7 million displaced in countries in the surrounding border countries. So a long road for Syria to move back towards some sort of internal peace.
Indeed. Leila, thanks so much for that comprehensive overview of